Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, in whichever time you are looking into this video. So this is the third part of the revision lecture related to audit reporting chapter. So if you could recollect, in our previous class we have done some discussion about ISA, ISA 705, ISA 706 and ISA 701. Emphasis of matter ISA 705 modifications to the independent auditor's opinion, ISA 706 emphasis of matter paragraph and other matter paragraph, and ISA 701 key audit matters. Right, so in 706 I told you that you need to remember the meaning of emphasis of matter paragraph and then the examples. See, around 6 to 7 examples has been given. I would recommend you to remember at least 4. At least 4 you remember. So emphasis of matter paragraph heading, meaning, and then followed by 4 examples, and then where this emphasis of matter paragraph is placed in the auditor's report. These 3 things you should be confirmed about as this emphasis of matter paragraph, and the same 3 things should also be kept in mind whenever you are reading about this other matter paragraph. So from 706, what you need to remember, 3 things you need to remember about emphasis of matter paragraph and other matter paragraph. The 3 things are the meaning of emphasis of matter paragraph and other matter paragraph, and then at least 4 examples each, and then how will you position this paragraph in the auditor's report, right, in the contents of audit report, that you need to remember. And then 701, I explained you in the previous lecture that you should know the meaning of the key audit matters, and then from where these key audit matters will be picked up by auditor, and then what matters means what consideration shall be made by the auditor while selecting the key audit matters. Right, these 3 points you need to remember. Apart from this, the positioning of this key audit matters in the auditor's report also you should remember. Very important from the MCQ point of view. Okay, and next remember, so in the exam direct question may not be asked about these 3 issues, that is 705, 706 and 701. So there will be an application based question where you need to identify that so and so report should be given, and this emphasis of matter paragraph will be given or other matter paragraph will be given, that you should identify from the scenario or the context in which the question demands. Please remember this. So we'll see what other parts need to be studied from this chapter. So going concern, we'll come to the going concern later. So we will discuss this later. We'll discuss this later. Next we will see what things to remember. So these are all illustrations. So you can just give one time reading. You can give a one time reading and you can just leave it. So illustrations, they are not required. This is also not required, not required, not required. So these are all not required. Okay, not required. See, if you are studying for the first time, then definitely you need to once go through it, what information is there in that. But if you are preparing for the exam, means for the upcoming exam, you have already completed your coaching, then you can skip these matters and directly you can just go through the topics that I am focusing upon. Next, another important area that to be concentrated upon is communicating with those charged with governance. Right? Can anybody tell me what is the standard that is being dealt here? What is the auditing standard that is being dealt here? ISA. Anybody? You please mention that in the comments whenever you are listening this video. It is ISA 260, communication with management and those charged with governance. Right? See, first you understand the context in which ISA 260 has been introduced. See, what is called as communication? Communication is nothing but exchange of information between whom? Two persons. One is the auditor, another one is the client. Right, there should be a continuous exchange of information, communication between these auditors and clients. Now, here two types of questions are possible from the exam point of view. The two types of questions are, the first type of question is what matters to be communicated. What matters to be communicated. The second one is when it shall be communicated. Right? What matters are communicated and when it shall be communicated. Listen very carefully. First we'll go through this concept which is called as when to communicate. When to communicate, and then we will see what matters to be communicated. See, when the communication should be made with the auditor, with the client, from the starting of the audit till the end of the audit, wherever possible, wherever required, the auditor should compulsorily communicate with the management or those charged with governance. Okay, this is point number one. Point number two, to be very specific, when this communication will be made, I said that throughout the audit it will be made. So based upon this, can we say that the communication has to be done with the client at the starting of the audit, beginning of the audit? Isn't it? And even whenever the audit progresses, at that time also the communication has to be made. At the end of the audit, what is the end part of the audit? It is nothing but the reporting phase. Means even before doing the reporting, you need to communicate with management and those charged with governance. If you could recollect, in our earlier video, I clearly said this. If you are giving a modified opinion, which means a qualified opinion, adverse opinion, disclaimer of opinion, or you want to put emphasis of matter paragraph, other matter paragraph, you want to communicate key audit matters, or you want to give any comment on the going concern, then before giving that, once please communicate to the management and tell that, sir, I am going to give this type of information in the audit report, please go through it and give your comments. Sorry. So which means communication has to be made between the auditor and the management at the starting phase of the audit, and whenever the audit progresses, which means in between the audit, as well as at the communication stage, sorry, conclusion stage. Right? At the beginning of the audit, middle of the audit, and also at the end of the audit, communication shall be made between the auditor and the management. Okay, and see here, the word communication does not mean one way communication, it is two-way communication. Two-way communication means you communicate with the management, management should also communicate to you. You communicate with the management, management should also communicate with you, isn't it? Now see, at the starting of the audit, what communications you may make, just imagine. See, I already told you in the previous lectures that please step into the shoes of the auditor, assume yourself as an auditor, and then try to understand these concepts. You will never forget the concepts. Right? Now, at the beginning of the audit, what communications can an auditor make? Okay, had you been an auditor, tell me at the beginning of the audit, what communications will you make? See, at the starting of the audit, first and foremost, you will communicate about your what? Anybody? Engagement letter. You remember 210, ISA 210? Anybody? Agreeing the terms of audit engagement? So, engagement letter will be drafted by the auditor, sent to the management. Management will acknowledge that they are accepting the responsibility of preparation of financial statements, doing the business as per going concern. They will provide the auditor with all information, isn't it? So that communication will be made at the starting of the audit. And after that phase, planning will be done. So in the audit planning, definitely communication has to be made. Even before that, assessment of risk of material misstatement through understanding the entity and its environment. So assessment of the risk will also happen only with the information provided with the from the management. है ना? So these communications are made at the starting of the audit. In between the audit, what communications might be made? Anybody? Can you think? See, in between the audit, you perform audit procedures. There will be some conclusions. You will get some information. You need to confirm certain information. So these matters will be communicated to the management. At the end of the audit, your type of report, type of opinion, the wordings of the opinion, that will be communicated, right? About the misstatements that you have identified, that will be communicated to the management. So communication happens throughout the audit. Communications happens throughout the audit. Next, so this is the first area that to be remembered, and the second area is what matters need to be reported by the auditor to the management. Okay. Next, see, the reasons for communication has been given. We have already discussed that auditor need to obtain the information from the management, auditor need to communicate about his responsibilities, the auditor need to report the matters from the audit on a timely basis to the management, and to promote two-way communication. This ISA 260 has been established. You just give this one time reading, okay, not that important from the exam point of view. From here the matters are very important, very important. See, altogether the matters to be communicated between the auditor and the management is only four. Okay, four matters shall be communicated between the auditor and the management. The first matter is about the auditor's responsibility in relation to financial statements. I already told you that this will be done at the beginning of the audit, है ना? So in the this letter of engagement as per ISA 210, so you need to communicate the auditor's responsibility and management responsibility, है ना? So auditor need to clearly tell the management that देखो boss, my responsibility is so and so and your responsibility is so and so, right? So auditor's responsibility is what? Nothing but conducting the audit, assessing the risk of material misstatement, performing audit procedures and obtaining sufficient appropriate audit evidence and reporting, isn't it? So that will be communicated. The second point is the planned scope and timing of the audit, including the following. Means about the audit planning, which is nothing but ISA 300. Okay, how the auditor want to address the risk of material misstatement, how the auditor want to apply the materiality concept as per ISA 320, what are the preliminary views about the management financial statements and the accounting records, what will be the auditor approach towards the internal control mechanism, what is the extent of which the auditor is planning to use the internal auditor of the company, है ना? ISA 610. Next, what are the business risks that has been identified by the auditor? What are the communications that the auditor has done so far with the regulators? Okay, so all this will be communicated between the auditor and the management, which will be done at the planning phase. Okay, so these are the key words that you should write in the exam. Okay, auditor's responsibilities and the planned scope and a timing of the audit, including the following. So I would suggest you to remember at least three. So among these, at least remember three. Okay, so my suggestion would be remember first three, very easy. Okay, first three are very easy, you can remember it. Okay, so this is the second matter that is communicated by the auditor to the management. Next, the third part or the third point which is communicated is significant findings from the audit. See, significant findings during the audit means, is it at the planning phase? Definitely not at the planning phase. This is during the course of the audit, है ना? This is during the course of the audit. So let us say you have verified the financial statement to some extent and you have found that no, the quality, the accounts are not maintained as per the quality. Okay, see how the accounting records quality is measurable. It should be maintained as per the accounting standards, maintained as per the laws and regulations. If they are not done, then okay, we say that no quality nahi hai. And apart from that, the significant difficulties that has been encountered during the audit, right? Auditor is asking the management about the records, but the management is saying that we will give you after 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, come tomorrow and come day after tomorrow. Non-cooperation of the employees, delay in giving the information to the auditor, threatening the auditor, isn't it? So difficulties, they are called as difficulties encountered during the audit. Similarly, significant matters that arising during the audit that were discussed with the management. So some important issues has already discussed with the management, so that also can be reported, communicated once again. Okay, let us say the management has said that we will give you the bank reconciliation statement of so and so banks after 2 days, but 2 days has completed, still it has not been given to the auditor. So once again he can communicate with the management. Written representations, so as per the other auditing standards, written representations has to be taken, right? Like as per ISA 210, An acknowledgement from a written representation shall be taken from the management acknowledging their responsibility about financial statements. Okay, written representation about going concern, written representation about let us say this estimates, written representation about related party transactions, है ना? So that also can be a part of your significant findings. Okay, next, if the auditor has identified any uncertainty about the going concern, right, or any other matters wherein the auditor's professional judgment he felt it is significant to communicate. Okay, so among this also I would suggest you to remember three, but 100% you should write this statement. This statement should compulsorily be written during the exam. Along with that, means beneath that you need to write any 3 points of this topic. Matlab significant findings, any three you need to write if at all it is asked in the exams. And then comes the point number 4, where the communication will be made about the auditor's independence. Right, under this you are telling the management that, see boss, we have complied with all the ethical requirements that has been given by the ACCA Institute, and our professional fees and non-audit fees that has been charged during the period is so and so. Why? Because see, the management should have the clarity that what non-audit services you have provided and what audit services you have provided. Okay, management may do the payment in a single payment for both the services, but management should have the clarity, auditor should have the clarity that what services has been provided other than audit. Why? Because it may create threat to independence. Right? It may create what? Threat to independence. Have you remembered these threats to independence? Familiarity threat, self-interest threat, advocacy threat, intimidation threat, है ना? Okay, good. So these are the 4 matters that are communicated by the auditor to the management. Right? Can you repeat along with me? The first one is about auditor's responsibility. Second one is about the planned scope of the audit, and the third one is about significant difficulties. Significant difficulties, and the fourth point is about what? Auditor's independence. These are the 4 matters that has been communicated by the auditor to the management. Okay, and these communications are made at what point of time? The starting of the audit, during the audit, and at the conclusion phase of the audit. Right, that's all about this ISA 260, communication with management and those charged with governance. See here, another one more point you should remember is about management and those charged with governance. Management and those charged with governance, please do not get confused. See, management means it is nothing but the persons who are handling the day-to-day operations at the, what we say, at the managerial managerial level. Whereas coming to those charged with governance are those persons who are having the power of governance. Right, who are having the power of governance. What is called as this power of governance? Nothing but those persons inside the organization who has the power to direct and control the resources. Are called as those charged with governance. They are called as what? Those charged with governance. Have you all understood this point? I'll give you an example. Let us say accountant of the company. Do you think that he has the power to control the resources or direct the resources? No, he doesn't have that power. Whatever his boss says, he should listen. Whatever his boss says, he should follow that. Whereas coming to the chief financial officer of the company, he will come under those charged with governance. Why? Because he is having that power inside the company to control the resources, increase or decrease the resources as per his requirement, and he can also direct the resources. Okay, so those persons who are having this power are called as those charged with governance. See, in big companies, due to lot of hierarchical levels, we find this distinction between those charged with governance and management. But whereas coming to small companies, private limited companies or partnership companies, generally we don't find this thin line of difference between management and those charged with governance. They may be one and the same. They may be one and the same, but every time they are not one and the same. In a bigger hierarchical structural company, we see the difference between a management and those charged with governance. Right, are you all clear about this? Right, that's all about our ISA 260, and this is the end of this chapter. End of this chapter. Okay, so we'll see if there is anything else that we can discuss. Nothing much, nothing, directly questions are starting. So this is all about our audit reporting chapter. Thank you so much. So please do listen the video and please do comment in the comment box, give your comments so that uh, I will refine some more points that to be discussed, if any. If you do not understand anything, please comment in the comment means please give your comments in the comment box so that I can understand your requirements and accordingly will proceed. Okay, thank you so much, have a nice time. And after this video, the next video, we are going to start with a new chapter. I will be mentioning the chapter name in the video. Okay, need not worry about it. Okay, thank you so much, bye.